Hey, welcome to The Guide, game and movie reviews from Christian Dudes. I'm Yo, that's Will.
Hey!
And today, we only got two things that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about X-Men First Class, new movie just releasing. But before we get to that, Dirt 3. So give us the dirt on Dirt.
Okay, well, the first thing that I have to complain about is I just rented it,
right.
And the rental copy didn't come with the online multiplayer code that you need.
I do not like this trend that has emerged in games where you have to have an online pass to get the multiplayer features. I kind of understand why it's there, especially with the used game market.
Yeah.
With used games, I get it. Rentals, that's tough because you don't get a chance to experience the full game. So
right.
I share your frustration.
So I did, however, play through all the seasons. I had a blast with Dirt 3. It was fun. I loved the diversity between cars, buggies, and trucks.
Yeah.
I did best with the trucks, by the way.
Really? Interesting.
I think it's because they were a little slower.
Right.
And I could get a handle on things.
That's awesome. Tell me what you thought of the rally racing. I mean, have you done rally racing before? Was this more of your first time to do it? And try to explain to people what that experience is like, because it's a pretty unique experience racing-wise.
Yeah, it is. It's totally different than your typical racing game like Forza or Gran Turismo, because you have to learn how to use your environment. It's all about the rally racing, and these cars, you learn how to drift appropriately. But it was good. The racing arenas were very interactive. I like you could tell the difference when you go through a puddle, or when you're in some mud, and
or when it's snowing. The weather effects were awesome.
The snowing is great.
The different terrain affected how the car handled. Like going from concrete to dirt in a race, you really had to be careful during that transition, or it's easy to lose control.
It is very easy to lose control anywhere. I did that a few times.
What about the Gymkhana? What did you think of that? Which is basically, for those of you who don't know, Gymkhana, think of like a skateboarding video game. Instead of a skateboard, you use a car to do all those tricks. Awesome. But how'd you do with that?
I had a little bit of trouble doing tricks with cars.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
I mean, there's some parts where you had to pull right in, stop, and spin some donuts, and I would just go straight through.
So did I don't know. Supposed to spin around the pole, and I'd like crash into the pole.
How are you supposed to do this?
The tutorial makes it look so easy.
But I did great at all the things that included jumps and errors. Yeah, that was fun.
Gymkhana was a lot of fun. I like there's a lot of rally racing, so if that's what you want, you're going to get it. But I like the way they broke it up and gave you other events and other types of things to do.
And I like the way the career worked out through the seasons. Yeah. You had to work your way up the career ladder to get to the X Games. You got the Winter X Games, the Summer X Games. It was a lot of fun.
The multiplayer is actually really cool. You didn't get a chance to experience that. I did. I actually bought the game. Multiplayer is great. You can do team races or race by yourself, so it's a lot of fun. And then there's like party modes, which are really interesting. Just some wacky games that you can play in your car. There's like a version of Tag called Infection. There's this thing called Invasion where these cardboard aliens appear and you have to smash through them with your car and try and get as many as you can. So the party mode, really fun online, and I appreciate that they had split screen, which is always appreciated for multiplayer.
Totally.
And one of the things I had a little trouble getting used to was when you're doing the rally racing, the person sitting next to you calling out the directions. You know, medium right into soft left, over jump. You know, that was distracting to me.
It's distracting, but if you learn how to listen to it, I found that it helped me a ton.
I was about to say the exact same thing. Once I got used to using it, it helped me a lot because then I wasn't constantly glancing up at the map to see what I was going to do. I could just focus on what I was doing, knowing what was coming ahead. And I was thinking about that, and I was thinking, a lot of people say, God is my co-pilot. And they think of God as sitting there next to them calling out what's going to happen, right? But that's not what God wants. God wants to be in the driver's seat. He wants full control. And if you have that, the road's going to be bumpy. It's going to be probably kind of scary as you go through the twists and turns and all that unexpected. But with him in control, you have nothing to worry about. So what would you give Dirt overall?
Overall, I really enjoyed it. I don't know about the multiplayer, but from what you said, it sounds good, and I would have to go, comfortably, I could go with a 6 out of 7.
Wow, all right. There's a couple things that brought it down for me, mainly that you couldn't customize or hang on to your favorite car
Right.
I didn't like that aspect of it. I wanted to keep a car and like upgrade it and stuff like you can in Forza. So I didn't like that. And there's a couple technical flaws. The YouTube interaction is a good idea. They didn't take it far enough. You can only upload 30 seconds. So I'd give it a 5 out of 7, but I really had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
It's a great racing game. If you're looking for a great racing game, this is the one for you.
Yeah, I would suggest it too.
Now, moving on to X-Men First Class, which of course a lot of people have been hotly anticipating. You're a big X fan. So what did you think of it as an X-Men fan?
I think it was the best X-Men movie so far.
I agree with you.
You know, I don't know as far as there's so many Marvel movies, comic movies out, that it's hard to really compare them.
But this is on the spectrum of being better.
It's in its own class, and it's good. It was a longer movie, but it had a nice pace, very entertaining, and it did a great job of just explaining the background to some of the critical characters in X-Men.
The two leads were awesome. The guys who play Professor X and Magneto, they did an amazing job.
Definitely.
And that core relationship in the movie was so well developed that when it breaks at the end, you feel it. You're like, oh
no,
guys, so it's a really good character movie, and it has the thrills and the fun stuff from a summertime movie.
Yeah,
it also has a few cheesy comic book moments that kind of bring it down a little bit, but definitely one of the better comic book movies out there, and I agree with you, one of the best X-Men films by far.
Yeah, and the action sequences were all really cool, pretty thought out, it seemed. Sometimes you could tell, now that's obviously a CG effect.
Yeah, there's a few kind of weak effects in there, but overall it was good production, and I like the historical integration with the Cuban Missile Crisis. That was kind of fun. And then one of my favorite lines in the movie was when Mystique and Hank, who becomes a Beast, are talking, and they're talking about trying to fit in, which is a lot about what X-Men deals with. How do you feel normal? Do we need to feel normal? And Mystique says, we shouldn't aspire to be like the society around us. They should aspire to be like us. And man, that just hit me as a Christian, because that's exactly what the church is struggling with right now.
Yeah.
There's so much going on in the church. We need to be relevant. We need to relate. We need to be seeker-friendly. Whatever words you want to use. Basically, we're aspiring to be like the culture around us. And I agree with Mystique. We shouldn't do that. We should be following Christ so well and looking so much like him that A, we stand out and look like freaks. Obviously, we're not going to be normal when we follow Christ, at least normal according to the world. But in doing that, we will give them something to inspire them, that they can aspire to something better, because Jesus Christ is better than anything the world has to offer. And that statement just hit me so hard. Man, this is the struggle the church is facing right now.
Yeah, it's because we have this huge power at our fingertips, and unlike the X-Men who use it to battle, I mean, we need to be the ones to reach out and share it with everyone else.
So what would you give X-Men First Class? Would you say it's first class?
I'd say a 5 out of 7 is a very comfortable rating.
Yeah, I'd totally agree with you. 5 out of 7. It's kind of a James Bond film. Everything that implies.
There is a little bit of risque.
The action can be a little dark, nothing gory or bloody, but the action gets a little intense at times. But yeah, there's some kind of risque moments, like in any 1960s James Bond film, so keep that in mind. But yeah, I agree, a 5 out of 7, because it was a good romp at the movies.
Indeed. It's really setting the bar for summer, I think.
Yeah, I think it was one of the better summer movies we've seen so far. I don't know, do you think it was as fun as Fast 5?
Yeah, I think so.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. Well, that's going to wrap up the guide. Of course, you can read more when you visit MyStatic Radio /the guide. You can also read more HollywoodJesus.com. And next week, you're not going to be here.
I'm going to be MIA.
That's sad, but we're going to have some coverage from E3 for you, so we'll let you know what's going on.
I will be doing a little on-the-road 3DS reviewing, so I'll try and send in a little clip of that.
So we'll get some updates from him about how the 3DS is working and all the news on E3 all next time right here on The Guide.